gonna loop for a second. That's fine. Yeah, with the crack. All right. This thing looks weird. How do I? Evil Age. No, that one. That one. All right. Cool. So, I was looking through some more of these, and I got to this VOD. And I got halfway through this VOD, and I was like, well, I rolled my eyes so hard, honestly. I was like, man, nah, it's time to turn this on. It's time to turn this on. So let's talk through some things, man. Alright. Starting off, doing what you're doing. You're sitting in green lock and nobody's looking at you. I mean, that's one person looking at you. That's really not a huge deterrent, but at this point, he's not even looking at you anymore. Here we are, nobody looking at you. Still, nobody looking at you. And it's one thing that nobody's looking at you, but you do all of this evasive stuff like jumping and step diving. So that's like 3 boosts, all for evasion, like the jump boost, the step boost, and then the boost dive boost. Like on top of whatever movement you do, you're doing all of that, and nobody's looking at you, so you don't need to evade anything. The only reason that even came out, that was for me, but because of where you're positioned, it's a threat to you. That happens sometimes with God. But nobody's looking at you still. In fact, all Coco did was check to make sure that you're not doing anything. And he goes back to 2v1ing me. I don't need to pause that there. But yeah, that's okay, but you can go further because they're not looking at you. In this, I mean, this is an experience thing, but the concept is you see I'm in NTD, or you should see that I'm in NTD, and I'm already in, and I'm already supposed to die. So it should cross your mind that I'm going to CC8 something, CC8B something, and if you're shooting at it, you're going to cut me. So your attention should be on the other guy, which it gets there. Yeah, see, that's fine. And even if you were shooting rockets when you didn't really need to, that's still fine. Like, this is okay. Here we are back in green lock. And that's like the most threatening thing that's happened thus far. Pause again. Who's looking at you? Nobody. So why are you this high in step diving? This still isn't the point that maybe just pause it and start this over. That's nobody really has this notion of when somebody boosts or when somebody bursts, you just move away from the burst. Like, you had no reaction to that, but like people try to fight burst, and it's like, why? It runs out, and you're trying to fight a better suit at that point. Just move away from them. But Yeah, the problem here is like, one, you're getting caught in your movement that's like not really fluid, but you're not looking at what's the big threat to you. So you're not even dodging the thing that matters. But it be like that sometimes. That's still experience. That's based off of where you're standing. This, I know what I wanted to say here. You moving here is not a problem because you don't want to be in the corner and you're going behind your front guy. Actually, there's nothing I need to say here. Okay, this is thing number one. This guy is by himself. Why are you over here dodging? And he's not looking at you, and he's by himself. If it's because you're afraid of the spawn, you have so much time to react to the spawn. Okay. So here we're about to have this, and I'm having flashbacks of watching this the first time. I'm dead. I am dead. You are in a 1v2. So why now, of all times, when you have not done this for 105 seconds, why is this the time to Jero? This is literally the time not to Jero. This is not the time to Vernier. But it happened. This is the moment where I was like, okay, I need to turn this on and say something and point this out specifically, because it's like, why? Yeah, you're gonna get hit because you're Verniering in a 1v2. All right, back to the rest of this. I don't know what happens at this point, other than you're an NTD, you're dodging, and nobody's actually looking at you. You're getting hit because you're not like really aware of where you're at. You're just moving without a purpose. Like the whole jump step dive, you can't really control your position. So like that's what that says when you see somebody do that all the time. They don't really know where they want to go. Yeah, that's gonna happen if you're like trying to challenge Got. Which you were. You had all the space to back up. But this, you Verniered there. Just to shoot your striker, your Farsi, but you had the intention of like trying to like run, and you were gonna run into the corner. Like if there was no wall there, you would have backed up. But it's actually okay for you to die because you have burst. You just have to be ready to burst. That's wild that you didn't burst that actually. Yeah, now you're in the position. Yeah, you kind of have to do that because, well, you're not gonna get hit again and live. And you're playing really high up without a burst, and yeah. That makes perfect sense in my mind. It's one of the things I say to a lot of people is like, everybody in the group plays really high up for no reason, and you already bursted, and then you went high into the air, meaning you have a pretty easy landing to punish, and it got clipped by some funnels. You can't do that. Alright. Where's the other one I looked at? Oh, this one. Just so I can point out, or just so I can have a blatantly obvious example to something that's been said many times. It's been said many times. Just for the preface of this video, if I remember this is the right replay, pay attention to how you're moving when you die at the end. Because you break like the number one rule of movement. It's like number 2 or number 3. But I'm calling it number 1. Where are we at? We're in Greenlock. Who's looking at us? Nobody. What are we doing? Nothing. Not even the Jero. Now you're being looked at. And it's the guy who's like on your vector with a wide shot. So even though the wide shot itself doesn't do a lot of damage, he's the threat. You kind of need to pay attention to him. You don't specifically have to look at him, but understand what threat he poses and realized you shouldn't have been there. But the Gundam God smiled upon you for a second. Didn't land. You're in L lock. You're in L lock. You're in double lock because of just how you've been trailing behind and how you want to move towards me instead of like 2 safe spaces. So if I remember what happens right now, like you have not looked at Coco at all. And this is the part where you get Jeroed because you're in L lock and you're not moving fluidly. Yeah. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Like, even though I've cheated and seen that before, like, just looking at everything that led up to that, that makes perfect sense. You stopped in a lot. Green lock. Nobody's looking at me. What we doing? Now we're starting to step up a little bit. That's good. Shoot stuff. That's one guy looking at you. That doesn't mean a whole lot. Shoot. Nobody's looking at you. Shoot. Shoot the gun. You got hit there because, well, it's ultimately because of movement choices, but like the short version is you verniered because you shot the second shot in a situation where you're going to go off angle. Like if I wasn't lazy and I had GIMP up already, I could easily show this to you. But like when you go one direction, like when you go left and the guy you're looking at goes to his left, which is your right, if neither one of you turn to angle, the closer you are to each other, the more likely you are to vernier. Which is why you have to have, well, really, you have to have the discipline to deal with that. And there's a bunch of ways to deal with it, but you can't just boost and shoot all the time. You have to do other things. But, yeah, you went off angle, you got clipped. Now you're getting meleeed. Which is actually really bad for me. Not because I'm dying, but because you're my back suit who's taking damage. And now you do the whole I don't want to die thing, even though you're supposed to play front at this point. So even if you don't like, how do I describe it? Because I've explained this to you before. It's like you don't want to just go in and die, because that's not what you're supposed to do. But now it's your turn to play front as well, because every shot on me is one shot closer to the end of the game. And you still have a life, because you're a 400 suit and there's a 500 cost. So like those shots, while it's a really passive thing to move away from them and dodge them, you could hold your ground and dodge them and let them come to you for better shots and let them move into L lock for better shots because I'm flanking them. But you got to have the movement, the awareness, and the ability to keep yourself on angle so stuff like that happens more often. P.S. You still haven't Jeroed in like ever. In the air. Hope you burst. You did not burst. And you're lucky he didn't just kill you. For all the times he screams about I want to melee people, I don't know why people don't finish their combos. That's mind-boggling to me. But you should be dead. You should be dead. Really, it's fine that you didn't burst, because this is your life at this point. I meleeed guy number 1. Guy number 2 is not looking at you. Guy number 2 is in a 1v2. You push him. But you waited kind of late to do that. Yeah, surprise, there's a Sazabi there. Gotta look. You don't look around enough. But here's the scenario again. Like, you're in green lock. Nobody's looking at you. And you're thinking, I don't want to die. Why not? You're supposed to die. Every shot that chips me is a shot closer to us losing without you even taking your life or bursting. Remember what I said earlier about going one direction? Guy number 1 goes one direction. You go the other direction. And if there's no adjustment, you're going to vernier. You vernier. Now this. Remember what I said in the preface of this. Pay attention to how you die. Because this is a common thing that, well, I've seen you do it a lot, but a lot of people do this because it feels comfortable to move this way. But you have to understand that it's really a huge no-no. All right, let's watch this like pause by pause. You spawn, you boost to the right, you boost to the left. You're already getting shot at when you spawn because you try to do a meaty laser and you like mistimed it. Although you have iframes, you can't literally meaty laser. But you're crossing over the line. And when I say that, that's the idea of if you're moving one direction, all the fire that's coming at you is behind you. So if you double back for some reason, you're stepping back into the fire. And then you step dive because you think jump step dive is the god. And it is not. And because you crossed the line without thinking about it, and because you did a step dive without thinking about it, there's no way you're going to burst this. Like, I won't say you should be able to burst this, but if you're, like, paying attention to your surroundings and the situation, it's feasible to know that this is going to happen and be able to burst this. But because a lot of stuff is just, like, it's going by at rote at this point, or as rote, whatever. Now, you're not going to burst it, so yeah, you don't burst that. You ain't bursting that. So don't cross the line. But my other option is to go into the other guy. Yeah, it's not like you had to go up forward at him. You could have went like down back. You could have went up forward because I was there, and you had a burst. So if one guy's in green lock shooting at you, the other guy's in a 1v2. That's been the tale of today. All right, so those are the two that crossed my line. Let me pick. I haven't watched this one yet. Probably pick like, I don't know, 2 more, 3 more. I'm not going anywhere for a while. Excuse me, I'm not going anywhere until I feel like. What happens today? Hey, you actually Gerald, cool. You Gerald and you got hit full screen by a wide shot, huh? Follows, you ready to dodge him? Not entirely, but you're lucky they wore off. Stand close. You got hit because you went so high up. Let's watch that again. This is where I wish it had frame skips. This is where I probably should have just recorded this first, but this is low effort. Low effort analysis. Blah de blah. Jump, step, dive. No real reason. Going up, jump, step, dive. Jump, step, dive. Jump, step, dive. Don't really need it. And here we go. You've already boosted, like, I lost count because I thought it was like one more session, but you've like boosted, I want to say like 3 times. No, it's like 2 times. It might be 3. And then you step dive. So it's like a total of 5 boost. And there's a phantom coming at you with a wide shot. It's the same concept as a Nightingale horizontal fence. It covers a large area, which makes it really easy to punish landings. It is the next one. Cool. It's this one right here. So that's 1 boost to move, 1 boost to jump, 3, 4. And you're already in yellow. So yeah, if you're going to move and avoid that, you're going to step hop. But you don't step hop. We went over that months ago when you were like, how do I deal with the O? 1 sec. Soda's good. Yeah, you don't step hop when you're faced with situations like this. If you did, this wouldn't be a problem. You also don't block. Like you'll. I say you. There's a lot of things that's like everybody does this, but when somebody's faced with like shots like this, they don't really think to block very often. If this was somebody meleeing at him, it would be blatantly obvious for them to block, and they would be more inclined to block. But this is something you have to block because of where your boost was. But you didn't. You tried to boost away from it. You can't boost away from that. And then, hey, why did you get hit there again? Because you tried to cross the line. That's technically my fault, not entirely. That's you going forward to shoot because you want to shoot, and because you're not in tune to like any of the movement stuff I told you. That's the short version. Like jumping back and swiveling, like stepping. Although stepping would require you to have been paying attention to that and have the foresight to know that the action was moving towards you and you hold your spacing. But because you generally don't do any of that, like when you want to shoot, you have to be on the ground going forward shooting. So if somebody's going forward at you and it's advantageous for them, it's going to hit you. A phantom wanting to run at you in whatever the thing is called. It's not eye field. I know that's like the thing. Whenever he's in the thing where you can't shoot him and he's moving at you and you don't react and you try to shoot him, he's going to hit you. Because of how you move, you can't really prepare for that. The only way you can prepare for that right now is if you didn't want to shoot him in the first place. That's risky, but sure, that paid off, I guess. You guys are wild. You're lucky that didn't hit you because he was shooting at you first and you wanted to vernier. And realistically, you're trying to shoot a NTD Jero at a Suzabi. He ain't going in there. And then for the fact that he's low, he doesn't really have a reason to just run directly at an NTD Banshee. Because I bet he doesn't know where your boomerangs are. So it's a huge risk to just run at you. Actually ready for NTD. Hey, two people standing on top of each other. You just came out of NTD. There's this perfectly good thing that you can shoot and fish for. It's called a Jero. Green lock shots. It's actually decent to look. Two people on top of each other again. Crossing the line, getting lucky. Are you ready for this? Because your boost is low, and then you ran into a building. Why do I feel like you get hit by this? You get split by it. Yeah. Only because he spawned. It's the only reason you decided to shoot him. Alright, 1v2. What do? You move away. Cool. On top of each other again. Jero's up again. But you are trying to move on top of me when you have, like, the entire right half of the stage to play on. And you're the one that's supposed to die next. So there's multiple reasons for you to not try to, like, hide behind me or really suffocate me on the wall. This is one of those times where I'm sitting there streaming and I say, go away. I honestly don't know why you got hit, because just looking at this, I saw when Volt verniered, and I said in my mind he verniered. So I still would have been going to the left, and I would have went around and hit him because he verniered. Oops. Not good analysis. That's overboosting. Overboosting, and then you're overboosting, and then funnels appear on you, and it's like, well, you can't really do anything because too far down in the boost pool for no good reason. Last life, full burst. What do you do? You kind of have to play safe to some degree. Get clipped. Alright. Burst is getting more and more worthless by the second. Not ready. Steps in your face. You are not ready to step. You're like, I can just casually boost. But there is a decent amount of muzzle correction on that Jero. It be like that. Step more. Alright. What else could I watch? These don't count. I'm not counting the 300 runs in for no reason games. It's a double 500 game that doesn't count. 300 runs in for no reason. This. Wait, that's Providence. Did we actually win a game with you playing Banshee? I don't know. This one don't count. That one don't count. Redo. Redo. Yeah, we sure did. We sure did. What happens in this magical game of Gundam? Find out now. Alright. So, let's think about something real quick. And there is a real simple counter argument to this. There's a real simple counterpoint to what I'm going to point out, to what I'm going to note. But I want you to think about this. Ready, start. You move to my side, and then you Jero from my side. If I went straight forward, because who's going to hit me for going straight forward? You literally just moved and Jeroed me in the back. Go to your side and do this. Kind of playing really high up for no real reason. I mean, it doesn't matter, but I mean, I'm just pointing out that, again, you're doing all the evasive stuff that doesn't matter. Trying to shoot from green lock. Still sitting in green lock. Doubled over the line, and you saw the Jero. And the only reason you did that is because, or I'm pretty sure it's because you saw me, and you were like, I don't want to cross behind my guy, so I need to go back to my side. This is a subtle, not a subtle thing. This is a thing I've pointed out, a really important thing to realize. When you're in the back, the obvious way to not shoot your partner is to not shoot. Like, that's a slight off topic. But the big thing is, if you're not going to shoot, then it doesn't really matter if you move behind your partner, because you're not going to shoot him. So if you needed to keep moving out of the full map L, you were perfectly fine to do so. All you have to do is have the discipline to not pull the trigger when you go behind me. I want to turn around and say it's really easy, but it's something that people don't really think about, because they're like, I have to shoot when I boost. And it's like, no, you don't have to. You really don't have to. Quick cig of soda before we get back in there. Yeah, that guy's going at you. You can move away from him. And yeah, you almost got hit by a green lock fence because boost hop step dive. Why? Next time I get the idea to do this, I really need to pull GIMP up so I can diagram some things. Green lock, nobody's looking at you. Why are you overboosting and taking all these evasive maneuvers? Well, why are you overboosting for no point? Because it's not like you're doing anything. You're in green lock. But, like, why are you wasting so much boost on jumping and step diving? Because nobody is looking at you at that point. Now, one guy's looking at you. That's not too threatening. Nobody's looking at you, but you're all the way up in the air, and you go down to red boost. Here we are again, and nobody's looking at you. And again, and then they finally look at you. But, like, you see how you're using a lot of boost for no reason, and nobody's looking at you? You can be a lot more efficient with, even if you don't have great movement. It's just like the fact that you can stay lower to the ground and inherently wind up with more boost because you land faster. It's not like anybody's really threatening your landing. That's a good Jero. I mean, okay, one, that was a good Jero. More specifically, it was a good time to Jero. It realistically shouldn't have hit Coco, but I mean, he wasn't looking at you. But that's the perfect time to Jero. Like, you're in green lock, nobody's really paying attention to you anyways, and you see somebody in L lock. So, good idea. You're not used to playing Banshee, but you overboosted for that. And that's just an experience thing, because it's one thing where I want to sit here and say, well, you overboosted. But you overboosted because you're not used to playing Banshee, so you're not used to the beam magnum cancels. And you looked at that situation, you're like, I should be hitting him for this. So you're like, I'm going to hit him for this. And you missed like 3 cancels or something like that before you finally shot him. But at that point, you've already boosted like 3 times, and then I think you stepped dough. So that's like 6 boosts. Let's pretend you did 3 boosts and then you stepped dough. That's actually 5. That's overboosting. But all of that, I can't chalk that up to you making bad decisions. Well, not like literal bad decisions. That's just experience bad decisions. Sit down and practice some Banshee if you actually want to play it. Yeah, that guy, because I'm already on top of the 500. I'm going to melee him, and it's okay if I get hit because I'm supposed to die. So you need to protect yourself. You're not ready to protect yourself. If this was Blaze Gear, you're getting hit here. And it's like a huge detriment to the team. Your awareness. Oh, you can't land there. I'd have to go back and look at how far is this in? 1:40 or 1:40? Yeah, you can't land there. That's one of the rare scenarios where like you're going to burst as a 400. And you're going to burst just so you live and you don't overcost your 500. But yeah, you can't really land there. You could have tried to block and wait for help. You honestly could have tried to melee. But yeah, you can't land there. You're too high. You're too high for no reason. This is another one where I'm literally facepalming because it's like you just died in a 1v2. Or excuse me, you died in a 2v1. And there was literally no reason for you to die at that 2v1. Like, there's like the fail-safe thing that I could say, which is, why are you there? I've already bursted. And so by even taking that chance and dying, you put the team in a very bad spot. Because I'm low, and when I die, I don't have a burst. But it's the bigger problem is, again, like, you died because you overboosted and you went really high in the air for no reason. He wasn't shooting at you. And the reason he turned to shoot you is because he downed me, which, I mean, why did you get down in a 1v1? Yeah, okay. You are right. Why did I get down in 1v1? That's something I'll look at myself. That's actually pretty bad. But there's no reason that you should be getting hit in this scenario. But it's movement decisions which cause you to get your landing points. But yeah, go shoot that guy. Not that guy. Because that guy has a bunch of health. Okay? The other guy's in the corner. You have burst. Go pressure the other guy. That guy. Not that guy. So you hit him. What did that really do? That guy's zeroing and not looking at you. He's literally losing the game. You don't know how to handle that scenario. The one where you're like really close to somebody, but you're not on the same altitude. So you're like, I'm going to melee because I'm right on top of them. But you're actually in green lock, so you can't melee. That's one of those things where you have to sit down and figure out what you actually want to do. Or else you'll just fumble through this situation a lot. And then you go in and you mash B a bunch, and it happens to pan out. GG. But I'm pretty sure you're starting to see how these things are, they're lining up. How they are or are not lining up, depending on how you want to word it. One more. Yeah. Sure. 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 Why not do this one? 3, 2, 1, go, Jero. No. There it goes, late Jero. And sitting in green line. You have all the space to go to the left, and they're both in front of you. Both of those things are important because you're moving in front of me, which, technically speaking, at this point, I shouldn't be shooting because you're in front of me. But the bigger question is, why are you in front of me? But you have all the space to go to the left, and you can still be like far out to the left. That's another thing I need to diagram. The concept of being back is relative to where you are on the perimeter is like a word I can say. I'm trying to think of the circle word. It's so long since I've done geometry. But basically on like the orbit around somebody, like you can be back and you can be on the opposite side of your partner. And it's just a question of distance. That's the radius then. Yeah, you're the radius? I think the radius is the center to the edge. If your radius is bigger than mine, then you're still back. Even if you're not like literally behind me. That's something, another thing a lot of people don't think about. So yeah, you don't have to be moving here in front of me and then crossing the line to get hit. That's why you got tagged in. That guy. I'm shooting that guy, so you shoot that guy too. Uh-huh. Remember that thing I told you about? You don't shoot the shot falling down, the deflecting shot or defensive shot, whatever it's called. I mean, he still got down, but that would have hit him first. Jero something, please. Jero something, please. That Jero's been sitting there, kind of cooking for a while. Green lock shots aren't really doing a lot for me. Jero something, please. Especially since you don't want to step up. There you go. Kind of a... Yeah. See how much time it took? And that's after I wasn't thinking about it for who knows how long. Alright, you got your Jero back. And I bursted. And you have 525 life. Do you go in and help? Kind of. But by overboosting from really far out, so you can't really do a lot. So my burst really equates to nothing. Because I'm trying to chase the guy 1v1. And my partner, who has 525 health, is on the other side of the map, going far down in their boost pool in green lock. So what's supposed to happen in a burst is you want to keep enough health to burst when your partner bursts, so that you can go in and help, because they're already going to divert attention because they're the stronger suit and they're the one that require the most attention. They're setting you up to go shoot. You have to be in position to shoot. You almost crossed. Well, you did cross again, but you were above when you crossed, so it kind of worked out. Why are you taking these small boosts and like jump, step, diving in a 1v1 or a 1v2? You landed in his face. You landed in his face after boosting like 3 or 4 times. That's one of those scenarios where it's like, what can I work on with movement? Instead of landing there, instead of diving there, you just boost away from him. What is he going to do? Is he going to stop and shoot you? Like, he actually has to do that. But because you're holding on to your spacing at that point, you, in theory, can react to that. Contrary to what the beginning videos say, boost diving is not like God's gift. There are some pretty inherent flaws to it, although the flaws are user error. I actually don't know what's going to happen here. I don't know why you didn't shoot him. He's clearly out of boost, so he's Vertier. You just shoot him. Just shoot. This is a movement thing. Like, how do you actually want to move so that you're capable of doing stuff instead of just moving for the sake of moving? Yeah, you could have Gerald that. Lol. Does he get hit by it again? I think he does. So you see how they're like trying to 2v1 me because you're kind of just out there doing nothing. Like, to some degree, like, I'm not really giving you a lot of places to work with because I'm constantly going back and forth. But I'm constantly going back and forth because I understand you're not really shooting. Like, you're sitting in green lock and you're not really shooting, so I can't really rely on you for much. Like, to be blunt, like, I can't expect you to do a whole lot because you won't like stand close enough to where shots matter. Like, this is still really far out. It feels safe to you because, yeah, they're not going to look at you, but this is really far out. It feels dangerous to step closer because they might shoot at me, and yeah, they might, but you got to be ready to move when they shoot at you. The closer you shoot, or the closer you stand, the more effective your shots are going to be. I mean, that's obvious. But the risk with it, or I guess the responsibility with it, is the closer you stand, the more ready you have to be to move around or move away from stuff. Which is why the basis of this game is you work on your movement so that you can cheat more than you should be allowed to. They're on top of each other. You Gerald that guy and you move it to the left. Let's see if Coco runs into it. He wouldn't have ran into it, but still. He might have came back to it. I mean, of course, this is all assuming he moves the exact same way with a big pink line in the middle of the screen, but you get the idea. Gerald again. Where's your boost pool? You probably didn't realize you missed your landing here. But you missed your landing. So you have, like, no boost. Coco's looking at you. Do you get hit here? You should get hit here. You almost got hit there. You got hit for being on Vector. NTD. Could have boosted more before you burst, but sure, get in there and hit the B button, because people are never ready for people to hit the B button. Get in there and B. Because what is spacing? I want to hit the B button too. I said that was the last one, but one more. I don't really feel like getting up. I don't really want to get up. Did I look at this one? Probably not. We're looking at this one. Is this really 40 minutes? This has been 40 minutes. What does OBS say? It's been 45 minutes. Holy crap. Last one for real. What happens here? Ready to fight Jero? Yeah. It's okay. Moving away from the Nightingale? Fair enough. I'll clean that up a little bit. That's okay. That happened every once in a while. You just didn't move. You just didn't move. Like, I mean, it would have helped if you'd have stepped there. Like, if you were looking at that and been like, man, I need to step here, but I'm pretty sure you didn't move. You didn't step dive. That's what that is. Of all the times you just step dive, you didn't step dive there, I believe. I'm sitting there thinking, it's like, why did that actually track you from that far out? It's like, well, there's fire coming at you. You're trying to land and you didn't step. It's still going to track you. Let me watch that a third time and make sure I'm not losing my mind over here. It's this one. Yeah, you didn't step dive, so it's still tracking you. Bing! Okay. Filler about Gyros. You crossed the funnels. You decided you were going left when the funnels came to you. You're not going back to the right. That's what you shouldn't do. So what you did was actually the right thing. And it's a player preference thing. And it actually would have been the bad thing to keep going to the left, because that would have been challenging the Nightingale, which you don't want to challenge the Nightingale. But a thing to point out is you have a lot of space to work with. So if you could swerve, you could still go that direction and hold on to your spacing away from them. But this is still fine. That's not. This is not fine because of how you just move without any real thought. Jump, boost, dive. You jumped onto my vector. I actually don't know why I got hit by this, but he's shooting this at me. You shouldn't have got hit. That's your fault. You're lucky that people... How do I word this? They don't really confirm their shots. And what I mean by that is, like, people will shoot stuff that stuns, like fences and all this kind of things. And if something random gets hit, like not the person they intend to hit, they don't ever check it. They literally never check it. Because you're the better target in this. You're the far better target in this. But both of them are hitting me because it's like they were both locked onto me at the same time. And there's no way that you could have possibly been moving that direction and not tripped over the same fence. Consider yourself lucky. Have a Jero, by the way. That's okay because he's in the thing. Hey, guess why you got hit again? Yeah. Shoot that guy. I know you had to reload, but shoot that guy. I gotta point out that you don't do up downs. I haven't said that you don't do up downs or you can't. But yeah, you just like everybody else, you need to work on your up downs. That's one of the benefits of playing a reloadable clip. Chasing green lock, trying to shoot it. You're never going to hit that. And you're never going to hit that because you're at the edge of red lock and there's no L. So that's something you literally don't have to shoot at. I mean, sure, there's the off chance that for some ungodly reason he turns into you and gets hit. But that's such a low percentage play. Now you're trying to 1v1. I think I burst already. So I actually want to go back and look at this. I don't care how long it takes. This is an important thing. This is a really important thing to point out. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I can spend a minute going back just to point this out. This is it's worth it. Go back to some stuff. No step dive. Gerald's back up. You're in green lock. Forgot why you get hit. Oh, stepping back across right. And I guess another thing I should say, like, you got hit by the funnels, so you don't get all your boost back. But what do you immediately, you're like high in the air. What do you immediately do? You boost and then you step dive. So you take 3 more boosts and you go into overheat. If people looked at that more, that's you getting hit and down straight from that. Stepping into my vector. He did the same thing again, but you're really far out. Speaking of far out, you're far out. Got a Jero. Stepping on my vector again. Kind of going around, wandering the wastelands. I say you're wandering the wastelands, but the other end of like that specific scenario is I also was really far back, so you're not entirely wrong for doing that. Still playing really far out. That's a shot that, as close as it's supposed to be, or as close as it looks, it's never going to hit. All right, good. This is everything I needed to know about this. So I burst. By me bursting, that says that I'm going to die first, so this game goes to shit. I bursted. Why are you moving over here to 1v1 this guy? And then he does this. And, like, for how everything is going, it makes perfect sense for him to burst. It makes perfect sense for him to burst because he's the low one. He's the low one. He's the suit that actually can play close, wants to play close. That's a person that wants to play close. And he's high in the air. Like, there's so many factors that say that... Well, there's so many things that say he wants to burst. That's one thing. But the fundamental thing is, I've already bursted. Why are you willing to take this 1v1? Because it's such a high risk. It's a high risk, and the reward's not as high as you think. Especially now that he bursted. Because your reward is if you kill him, you progress their death order in the way that they're prepared for. Because the Nightingale, who's a 500, still has his burst. So he's going to burst on his second life, meaning he gets to play. But if you, like, you're not going to die from this. But if you get in a scenario to where you can just die, the game's pretty much over because I can't burst on my second life. I've already burst. So, like, it's pretty risky to even be over there where that could happen. I honestly don't know why he didn't just try to turn and, like, dump damage onto you as well. I do know because people look at the low life thing and say, I need to kill that, rather than the thing that'll screw the team over. You should be the one that they want to run at this point, but nah. Doesn't happen for some reason. Hiribar back to age old. You should be playing front now. You know front. I feel like we've looked at this. We might have. I don't know. If we have, we're revisiting different points. I mean, you get hit by like full screen green lock Geralds for no reason a decent amount. It's because you don't look. Yeah, when was the last time you looked at him? And it's a Nightingale. Like, he's gonna do it. Even if he's not gonna do it, it's gonna cross his mind. And we're not gonna talk about the straight step there. That shouldn't have actually worked. But you're willing to do it one time and never again. Like, you'll dive at a guy who's looking at you to melee him. But there's this other guy who is paying no attention to you and moving at you but you won't melee him. Also, you won't use your melee. That's hard to cut. CC8B, like, that's hard to cut. So, like, if you want to melee, it's one thing that is hard to cut, but it also, like Unicorn, it goes faster than boosting. So it's a gap closer. So you should use it sometime. This is a 1v2. You're supposed to be the one dying. Why are you moving away? Honestly, oh yeah, we did watch this, sure. Honestly, in this scenario, do you do this? Yeah, I don't hate you for doing this. In fact, this is a good thing to do because he boosted a lot and he's gonna land. So like that shot hits him and that's game. Okay, yeah, we did look at that. Whatever. Why does it feel different? Because there's like 500 things to point out. I probably could do. There's no probably. I can do the same thing for myself. So I don't feel like, oh, woe is me. Like, man, why am I playing this? Man, we're all mediocre at this game, dude. All right, that's all I wanted. I'm out of here.